What's up guys, so in this video I'm going to break down a trade that I took on GBPAUD, a short setup that caused me to get a 3-hour win. I'm going to break down why I took the trade and how I managed the trade. So let's start off with the weekly time frame and then we go all the way down to the 50-minute. So on the weekly time frame, what can we see? Well, obviously we took a lot of liquidity above this high. So what I'm then expecting us to do is to trade down lower and take liquidity at the lows. So what is the first liquidity point after taking liquidity above this high where we could take liquidity at the lows? Well, that's underneath this little low. So you see this little internal pullback, then we move up higher. Well, over here there's liquidity and I'm looking forward to take that out, and then afterwards maybe even tap in towards this open demand zone, which is also at the yearly level. So when I scale over to the daily time frame, then what do I then see? Well, on the daily we are bullish, so this short was counter trend, but after taking liquidity and with that higher time frame perspective that we could take out liquidity underneath these lows, I was still looking for shorts because the order flow over here was bearish. You can see we respect every single supply zone and we keep on pushing down lower and lower. So that's why shorts are still valid for me, even though that we're bullish in structure and we tapped our discount prices, which could mean that we could trade up higher and make a new high. But overall, with the order flow being bearish, I think it's still valid to take shorts towards this liquidity and the yearly, and from here you have A plus longs again towards the highs. So scaling over to the 4-hour then, I have the same swing structure, which is all the way over here, same as on the daily time frame, but also same mindset. We have that liquidity is still open, with that demand zone still open, and at yearly level as well. So with that bearish order flow, it just looked super nice to take a short setup. So what happened? I was looking to take shorts after we broken this low because we created a supply zone. So we came down lower and then we grabbed a lot of liquidity underneath the low. So at that time, once we got that pullback in towards this open supply zone, I was careful of taking a trade because maybe from this liquidity we could see a small reversal up higher. So once I saw that from this supply zone we traded down lower and made or broke the new low, so what then happened, we created a new supply zone, which is this one. And from this supply, I was then looking to get a small pullback inside that supply and then trade down lower towards a point of interest where I wanted to trade towards. So once we broke this low, I was interested of taking shorts. Why? So we took liquidity, we got a small pullback reaction of the liquidity. So after we broke the low one more time, creating a supply zone, for me it was valid to still trade down lower in line with the order flow. And I was not expecting a reaction from that liquidity up higher because we were just trading down lower. So after breaking this low, we created this supply zone, and then inside this supply I saw a couple of interesting points. So first of all, it was this high and then also this high. And for me, what I do, I scale over to the 1 hour to see what's the best one. And then I can see over here, we're 1 hour structure bearish. And over here, I see this internal liquidity laying above this high with a small supply zone. And then you can also see this is around the 50% levels. So I had my alert above this high. Then my alert got triggered right over here. It tapped this supply. It took liquidity above this high. And then what could we expect after tapping premium prices? Well, then we could expect to trade down lower and make a new swing low, trading underneath this low. So after I got my alert, I put on my fractal indicator on the 1 hour, but also on the 50-minute fractal indicator alert. So whenever there is a 1 hour fractal or 50-minute fractal, I get an alert. And then from the notification, I take a look at the chart and see if the setup is already valid. So over here, you can see only at this level, I got a notification, which is way too late because I already stepped in over here, which was on the 50-minute time frame. So on the 50-minute, what happened is, again, we came inside that point of interest on the 1 hour over here and we took that liquidity like we already saw on the 1 hour. And then we got the 50-minute fractal break right at this low break. So at that 50-minute fractal break, I got an alert and I went over to the chart and I took a look at how the chart was looking. So at that moment, the 1 hour fractal was still at this low. So after this 50-minute fractal, I was thinking to myself, am I going to wait for a 1 hour fractal, which is all the way at this low, or is a 50-minute fractal break enough? And for me, the 50-minute fractal break was already enough because everything was in line. The daily order flow to the 1 hour structure to the 1 hour premium prices, supply and liquidity. So it was such a valid setup, and that's why I already took this trade after the 50-minute fractal. So what I then did is I drew down the supply zone after the fractal, and then what did I do? I placed my entry on top of the supply, my stop loss above the high, and then I just targeted a 1, 2, 3 towards this weekly level, and ultimately you could target all of the lows and even lower towards all the way that yearly level, because on the higher time frame that could be your take profit. So that is a trade. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions, make sure to comment it and I will answer them. Ciao.